Hello, everybody. Welcome to Beginning Canvas Training. My name is Ann Blackwell. I'm a learning specialist from Instructure Canvas. I'm very pleased to be with Texas A&M today. Without further ado, I'm just going to jump in and get started because we have a lot of content to cover in not so much time. And I also want to give you some breaks in there, so I'm not talking the entire time. So I'm just going to jump in and get started so we can have fun in Canvas. So what we're going to start with, I'm going to introduce myself just a little bit. Over 20 years in the classroom, the past 5 as an instructional technologist, my grad degree in computer technology and curriculum design from the University of South Carolina. So we are both in the SEC. I'm proud to be training another SEC college. So when I got this assignment, I was like, oh, Texas A&M, that's fantastic. Here at Canvas, I train everybody from K-12 institutions to higher ed, all the way from pre-K all to graduate and doctoral levels. So just a little bit about me. All right, this is being recorded. We do want you to participate. So what does this look like over Zoom? What this looks like is you should have just gotten the agenda in chat, and there's about to be a Q&A document also dropped in. All right. So please, as we go along, ask any questions in that document that you may need support with. All right. There are going to be some hands-on activities, all right, that will be timing. There's a timer on the screen. This is not to pressure you. It's just kind to keep me on pace, all right? So I encourage you to log into your course, log into your instance of Canvas, and do get your hands on these tools. You may not have time to complete an activity, but at least you know where that tool is and you know a little bit more about that functionality, all right? I know we all learn different ways, but I know speaking personally, I would have to go in and see it so I could remember it. So I do encourage you to do that. Speaking of logging in, if you have Chrome on your device, this is the preferred browser of Canvas. Try to use Google Chrome. You do see on my screen here Mozilla and Microsoft Edge. They also support Canvas, but not quite as efficiently. So that would be your best choice. All right, there is a fall message from Dr. Widmer.
You're joining us at an exciting moment in our transition to Canvas at Texas A&M. The start of the fall semester will mark the moment when we will be on one centrally supported learning management system. The units responsible for the Canvas implementation share a strong commitment to supporting the teaching and learning mission of Texas A&M. To this end, our end-user priorities for those who support and facilitate instruction are an efficient yet robust digital learning environment through features and integrations. For learners, our priorities are to provide an accessible learning environment that promotes student success. Our journey with the Canvas implementation has marched alongside the powerful lessons we have all learned in supporting remote instruction necessitated by COVID-19. While this has created immense challenges for us all, we have scaffolded the digital learning environment with the tools, practices, and policies in a way we would not have been challenged to do so in normal times. We launched Canvas in summer 2020, where we had about 70 course sections published in Canvas. Notable features we made sure were in place since day one were the Zoom and Google integrations, especially given that we were also supporting remote instruction. During the fall 2020 semester, we saw a significant uptick in Canvas usage, with 2,700 course sections published in Canvas, representing about 23% of all course sections. A notable feature we implemented during the fall semester was grade passback from Canvas to Howdy. As we transitioned to the spring 2021 semester, we again saw Canvas usage increase, with 3,800 sections published in Canvas, representing about 37% of all course sections. We automated several workflows through the Orca app, which made section merging and assigning course associate roles much more efficient for course instructors. We also made several notable integrations with MediaSite, Gradescope, and Peerceptive, which have benefits for both teaching and learning. During the summer 2021 terms, we continue to see a steady and peaked interest in Canvas. We anticipate numbers to only continue to grow as faculty experience improved efficiencies and benefits to student success heading into the fall semester. This summer, we also completed development on several outstanding features, including communities to replace organizations in Blackboard, and implementing a thorough review process for third-party tool requests with our academic liaison partners in the schools and colleges. A key component of the Canvas implementation is to support our students' success in the digital learning environment. The Texas A&M template was designed with the student experience in mind. We have applied one template to all Texas A&M courses in Canvas so that as a student moves from course to course in the learning management system, their experience remains consistent. We also strive toward an accessible digital learning environment. To this end, we have standardized the design elements of the template, ensured the left side navigation is student-oriented in the tools we set by default, and integrated Ally, with which we can confirm the template is 98% accessible upon release. As we transition from overhauling to sustaining a more contemporary digital learning environment at Texas A&M, we will continue to balance faculty support needs with an engaging student experience in Canvas. Our ongoing outreach to the Faculty Senate, dialogue with the academic liaisons, and data generated through our support pathways we maintain are only a few of the perspectives we seek out. Student feedback is also key to our continuous improvement model. I'll turn things over to Student Body President Natalie Parks to share what she's hearing from our students.
Thanks, Jocelyn. Now, I'm generally hearing that students are enjoying using Canvas, so to help ensure that your students are successful in your course, I'm going to share 3 tips based off of my personal experiences and those of my fellow AGs. First, remind your students to download the Canvas student app on their iOS or Android devices. I personally love using the Canvas app because I can access my courses on my smartphone, including features like my course calendars, to-do items, notifications, and messages. Speaking of notifications, remind your students to customize their notifications in Canvas. There are student-facing resources to help your students customize notifications in the Canvas template under the Student Resources section. Leave these in place as you build out your course because we find that these resources are super helpful as we navigate our courses in Canvas. And lastly, remember to be patient with your students because as much as you've had a learning curve with Canvas, we have too. But we'll all get there together.
I want to thank you all for your commitment to leveraging the digital learning environment to supporting teaching and learning at Texas A&M. Some of my greatest lessons learned through teaching in Canvas have been gleaned from watching my students use Canvas, particularly the Canvas student app. I hope you too have these moments that substantiate and reward your efforts.
All right. So we are going to jump in, and the first thing we are going to talk about, we're going to take a look at your wonderful template, and then we're going to jump into modules, what a module is, how to use the existing content in those modules, create new content, and then a little bit about organization. All right. So I'm going to jump into your template. Here it is. And I do have to say you have a really nicely structured template. So let's just take a really quick walk around. You do have these student resources at the very top, and you can customize your syllabus. I know there are certain requirements based on the campus, what Texas A&M campus that you might be an instructor, what needs to be on the syllabus. And your instructional team is constantly updating that resource. Also, student has academic resources and university resources. And then, of course, you can customize your office hours over here as well, just at a click, okay? Also, down here, we have our module links that go into our module. So students have a choice. They can either come down and click on these buttons to go into the modules, or they can come up to their course navigation and click on modules on the module link itself. Now, what is a module? A module is your lesson plan. All right, so before I go in and start talking about the modules in your template, modules set you up for your course flow. All right, they're organizing your lessons with that lesson content. All right, you can do your modules by week, unit, chapter, topic, however it is that you teach. So I'm going to show you a couple of examples for modules. So I'm going to come out into one of my personal courses just to give you a taste of what this might look like to you. So inside of modules in this particular course, for example, I have module 2. This is an art history class, visual arts, printmaking. Module 3, visual arts, photography, and visual arts. So you can see I am doing this by topic, right? Or by unit. And I'm numbering it as I go down. Module 4, all right? So I am putting all the content that I want inside of this unit in the module. So students are sequenced through the course content. All right. For example, my learning objectives, some resources here, a file, and a quiz. All right. So this is how I want students to go through. Back into your template, some other examples that I have put in. Lesson 1. Again, this can be by week or by lesson. Lesson 1, introducing psychology. Lesson 2, psychological science. So again, in lesson 1 module, I have my introduction, I have my other course content, discussions, assignments, quizzes, and then a review. So it's very, very important that we are using our modules to direct students through each item. This is how we want them to sequence. It's like going down a ladder. And then we have another topic, another week, another chapter, and we have that content, and so on and so forth. This is how modules are used inside of Canvas. Now your template is arranged. Notice that you have these little eyeballs over here that have the no slash, okay? This means that it's disabled and not visible to students. We don't want students to get into this because it's not sequenced like a module, all right? There is no sequence inside of assignments, inside of discussions. It's very random, all right? That's for you, not the student. You will always have access to this. However, your template is built so students cannot get to it. Please keep it that way. That's a best practice and always design from a module. All right. So let's take a look at the modules that your template does give you. So at the top, you're going to have the Instructure module, and notice it says do not publish. What that means is this is just information about your template for your eyes only to read, all right? Now up here, we notice that we have the no symbols. This means that it's not published, and this never needs to be published. This is only for you. Now, if you feel like that this module is in your way, you can move it, all right? You can grab it and move it to the bottom if you felt like later that was in your way or distracting. Coming down, student experience resources, all right? This notice, in contrast, this is published, all right? For student eyes, it's published at the top, all right? In that gray header, I have a green check mark, and I have a green check mark next to every single item. This means that the module and every item inside the module can be seen, all right? So this is for your student. Best practice, again, is to leave this here so they have these resources for their experience inside of Canvas, all right? Now, coming down, we have our, everybody should have this week 1 topic title, weekly overview, weekly activities, weekly review. This is your template module, all right? Now, you don't want to edit anything inside of this module, all right? This is like a Xerox machine, if you will. This is the original. And all you want to do with this original is make copies of it so you can edit it, all right? The reason why is it cuts down on your work, all right? Beautifully designed. When I come in, for example, the overview and to-do list, here it is. Overview, to-do list, and the ability to edit this, all right? You don't want to edit this week 1 original, because if you were to put dates in it, then when you were to make a copy of it, those dates would copy as well, all right? So you just want to keep everything just kind of blank for right now so we can duplicate it and then edit it, all right? So this is our building block, all right? We are not going to edit. We're just going to make a copy of it. Now, notice inside of this module that I have a quiz, all right? Which is lovely. We all like quizzes. However, when we want to make a copy of a module, we cannot have a quiz in there. Quizzes do not duplicate, all right? We cannot make a copy with a quiz inside. So what we have to do is we have to remove the quiz, all right? So I'm going to come over and I am going to make sure the quiz is the rocket ship. I'm going to come over and just remove it. So I'm going to hit those 3 dots and say remove. Now we can get it back. It's not deleting it. I'm just removing it. So it says, are you sure you want to remove it? Yes, I do. I want to remove it. Now I can make a copy of this module and use it, okay? So that's exactly what I'm going to do. At the very, very top in the gray header, I have 3 dots. You're going to see the option to duplicate, all right? Not copy, duplicate. All right, so I'm going to duplicate this module. And notice what happened. I now have where it says copy, 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 copy. All right, this means that I'm successful. So here's my original, week 1, and then where it says copy, that's where I duplicated that. Now I can come in and edit the copy. This way, all that work, all these great templates, I don't have to recreate the wheel. I can use this as many times as I want to, all right? And then come in and edit it, all right? Now, if you're saying, well, what about that quiz? You can put the quiz back in, all right, or create a new quiz to put inside that module. And we're going to talk about that in as we go through. But right now, all I want you to do is just come up, remove that quiz. Remember, 3 dots, remove. And then you're going to hit the top of week 1, 3 dots, duplicate. Okay, at the very top of that week 1, just duplicate, and it's going to duplicate that module. but you cannot do it with that quiz in there. All right. So I made another copy. You can see that. I can make as many copies of that as I want. All right. So I am going to encourage you again to remove the quiz, 3 dots, duplicate, and you can see that I've got those 2 modules down here. And then we will go from there. Okay. So that is our first activity. Remove the quiz and duplicate that template. Don't worry about adding the quiz back into the module. Just do steps 1 and 2. I am going to give you some hands-on time. All right. So I'm going to give you about a minute and a half to remove the quiz and duplicate. All right. Hopefully you took that minute and practice duplicating that and saw how easy it is to recreate things in Canvas. And I'm going to be honest with you. I tell people this all the time. Canvas is a great big Xerox machine, copying machine. It's very easy to let Canvas do the heavy lifting for you. So you're not constantly having to recreate the wheel. Okay. So that's what we just did. All right. Right now we have 2 modules ready to go. All right. And edit. And put maybe our week 1, week 2 content in it, or our chapter 1, chapter 2 content in it. All I have to do is customize these 2 modules that I just copied. All right. And put my personal content in it. All right. Just be careful not to, try not to anyway, edit that top module. All right. So this is a very efficient and easy way to make your modules. If you just did this and this is how you want to make your modules, go for it. Okay. Now, let's say that you wanted to say, well, that's a great template, but I want to create my own modules. That's fine too. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about how to create our own modules. All right. So at the top, you have the ability to create your own modules. All right. So plus module at the very, very top. And so this is just making one from scratch. All right. So we're going to compare and contrast, duplicating what we just did, and now we're going to make one from scratch. All right. So I'm just going to come in and let's see what I might want to call this. I'll say week 1, unit 1. And I'll use my psychology. Just keep that going. All right. So unit 1, introducing psychology, and I'm going to add that module. Okay. Now notice I did give it a number. All right. I did say unit 1. This could be week 1, chapter 1. I am, very important that you give it something numerical. Now I am going to notice how it's shot to the bottom. All right. I'm at the bottom of the page. I can move this to the top. All right. I have dots over here that I can grab and move, or I can hit the 3 dots. You're going to hear me say 3 dots a lot. Okay. Anytime you see 3 dots in Canvas, that means there are more options. Technically, it's called the more options menu. Okay. So 3 dots, you have these options. I can come down and choose move module. So I'm going to move the module to the top. I'm just going to get it to the top so I can get to it. All right. You have the options to put it wherever you want, by the way. If you wanted it before a certain module or after a certain module, you have that ability to. Okay. But I'm just going to put it at the top for simplicity. So I'm going to hit move. And there it is. Okay. So this is now at the top of my page. Now, whenever I am either duplicating a module like we started out with, or creating one from scratch when we hit the plus module, like I just showed you, we want to make sure that students can see the module. All right. Right now, they can't because the very top of it is not published. All right. There's nothing in it yet, but just something that I'm going to come back and revisit in a minute, noticing that this is not published yet. Now, what types of things can I put into a module? All right. Modules actually are very flexible. I can pick pages, assignments, quizzes, discussions, external URLs, files, a text header, which is like a label, basically everything. Okay. There are no limits to what you can put inside of a module. All right. And there shouldn't be, right? Because your module is what you want students to see. It's for all your resources, all your lesson materials. Everything goes in a module. All right. I can't overemphasize that. So here we are. So we're going to come in and we're going to start building things out. All right. So for example, now none of this is edited. I'm just showing you how to add some content in. All right. To get things inside of a module, all right, I'm going to hit that plus sign. So I'm going to hit the plus sign, and perhaps I want a page. Okay. So what a page does is like a web page, and students can watch a movie on it, read content that you put. So a page is like a web page. They can't hand it in. It's just for consuming information. All right. So for example, maybe I'm going to say add page, create that page, and I might just call it Introduction to Psychology. And add. So I did page, create page, gave it a name. Okay. Now I'm going to add it. There it is. All right. It's not edited. It's just the shell. All right. So I just dropped it straight in. Okay. I might want to add something else in. All right. So let's say that I wanted to add, for example, a file. All right. Maybe I want to add some documents for them to read, assigned readings, maybe a PowerPoint that I have on saved on my computer. All right. So I want some files in here. I can, again, I'm hitting the plus sign, add file. Okay. Now, when you say add file, you're going to see any file that's already in here. So I'm seeing a bunch of images just because these images make the template. All right. So don't worry about that. You will also be able to see as time goes on, you will be able to see, like I have some PDFs. You will be able to see anything that you uploaded as well. And you can reassign them if you reuse them just by clicking on them if you want it. All right. So you could, if you had already uploaded it to your course, you can reuse the content. All right. You can upload more than one file at a time by holding down Control or Command. But if you want to get it off of your device, all right, just like I did with the page, you're going to say create file, add file, create file. Now I'm going to choose these files, and then it's going to come in and I'm going to get to choose whatever I want. All right. So I'm just going to come down and I'm just going to get some very random files. Okay, so you can see that I can choose more than one, right? Or I can just choose one. So I'm going to just hit open. You can see I have 4 files, and I'm going to add those items. And they're just, it's really fast, okay? So it just goes zip, 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 and it just uploads into your course, all right? Now, these were really random files that I uploaded. So let's say that your naming convention in your computer is less than desirable, all right? You can come over to the 3 dots and hit edit to rename your file, all right? So we could say this is assigned reading 1, right? Just call it that and hit update. And then so on and so forth. Now, it does not change the file name inside your computer. All this does, when I hit these 3 dots and hit edit, it's making Canvas pretty, okay? So you have that ability too. Now, again, I'm sequencing them for my students as I am editing, all right? So there's all my assigned readings for this unit. So there's how I could upload some files for it, and so on and so forth. I'm going to come and hit the plus. Let's say that I wanted an external URL. Maybe I want a link, all right, for them, a website for them to go look at, all right? So maybe I want them to go to the APA, the American Psychological Association. I would get that link and paste it, okay? And then I do have to put in a name. So APA website, and add that item. And there's that link, okay? So again, lots of flexibility as we come through and we build, all right? So everything you want inside of a module is done with that plus. The same thing with an assignment, and we will be going over assignments here pretty soon. And also discussions and quizzes, all right? So if I wanted to quiz, again, add quiz. Any quiz you've already created is here, all right? If you wanted to create a fresh one, a new one, I'm just gonna call this quiz August. Well, actually, that would be a bad naming convention. Quiz Unit 1, and add item. All right. Now, I talked about publishing and unpublishing at the very beginning. Notice after I've been adding things, I've been automatically publishing them. Notice how I have everything inside the module published. All right. And the very tip top is not. Student view, very, very important. If I go into student view right now, let's see if I see Unit 1, Introducing Psychology. Let's see if we can see it. We cannot, okay? It's not there. When I leave student view, that was interesting. It went back down to the bottom. You couldn't see it, okay? The reason why is I don't have the very top published. So even though these are published, you have to publish the top also. Okay. Now, when I go into student view, you can see it. Okay. So that's something very, very important. It's the number 2 call Canvas gets. Why can't my students see my content? This little dot right here. It's so easy it's easy to forget to publish. I forget to publish. All right. Everybody forgets to publish. So I'm going to give you some hands-on time. Remember, this time, instead of duplicating a module, I'm going to have you create a module. So come up, plus module. Once you get it, remember you're going to add content using that plus sign. All right. All right. And you haven't got to add copious amounts. Just try to add at least 2 new content items to the module. And remember, we're not editing, we're just adding. Okay. So create it, give it a name, add it. If you want to add a file or URL, by all means, go for it. All right. Last item I'm going to talk about with modules is organization. Okay. Now, this graphic that I have is just an illustration of how important this is. Okay. So these red boxes are around something called text headers. What a text header is a label. It's a fancy word for a label. Okay. So notice my numbering convention. All right. So I have unit 1, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. So I am keeping this very succinct. Why? Because my students need this organization. And it also sets up my course organization and expectations for me as the instructor. Also, your students are going to use mobile apps. On the mobile app, this is beautiful. Okay. It really helps with that organization. All right. Again, if you're doing it, for example, weekly, all right, and you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday inside of a module, which is possible if you wanted to do it that way. That's also very, very helpful. And then your template does something like this: learn, engage, and demonstrate understanding. All right. So let's go back in and talk a little bit about this. So I'm going to come back down and work with your template first. All right. Your template gives you the weekly overview, weekly activities, weekly review. Great idea. All right. So I want to make sure, let's say this is week 1. Okay. Now remember, I can always edit when I have 3 dots. So I'm going to come and edit. Now, so I have week 1, weekly overview. I might want to come in and just is doing it from my template, just coming in and edit. If I don't want to recreate text headers, if I want to do as little as possible in Canvas, okay, I'm just going to come in and just hit 3 dots and edit. I will say weekly overview 1.1, or actually 1.0. And then weekly activities, 3 dots, edit, 1.1. And then weekly review, 3 dots, edit, 1.2. Now I've got that numbering convention. Okay. Really nice for my students. Now, if I came down and I had week 2, I would have weekly overview 2.0, so on and so forth. Okay. So this really helps to organize. Now, that's just using it from my template. All right. Again, your institution has set you up where you just have to do very little editing. 3 dots, edit, and put in those numbering conventions on the text headers. Okay. Now, if you are more interested in creating the way to add a text header, again, plus, add, just like we've been doing, text header. Introduction 1.0. And you would add it and you can move it. Just drag it. And then you would just you have to publish these like you have to publish everything else. Hit the plus sign again. Add another text header. It's the 6th one down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. Whoops. 6th one down. Maybe I want to say assigned readings. 1.1. And just drag it where I want it. And then maybe another text header, say wrap up and quiz. Oops. Okay, so I left out the numbering convention. So I'm going to come back and just hit edit and add that 1.2. And then just drag it and drop it. All right. So notice I went from a very, very unorganized, my module looked like a list, right? Now it's so much better just adding those text headers in. I immediately gave myself and my students some structure. All right. So important. And keeping that going throughout your course, it's just it's a wonderful best practice to do. All right. Last thing I'm going to show you for organization is, in addition to your text headers, you can do what's called indenting. All right. And it's just what it sounds like, moving things away from the side. All right. So everybody's different how they want to indent. I'm going to show you how to do it, and then I'm going to let you come up with your own conventions. Typically, when we have a lot of the same type of thing, we move them away, right? So these files, we probably want to indent them away from the left side. So I'm going to hit, again, 3 dots. I said, you're going to be sick of me saying that, but that's where we're going. 3 dots, edit, okay? And then I'm indenting 2 levels. You have 1, 2, and 3 levels. Up to you how far you indent. 1 isn't far, okay? 2 and 3 is kind of where I use, is what I use the most. Up to you to experiment a little bit with that. I'm going to say indent 2 levels. See how it moved it over, okay? And I'm just going to keep on coming. 3 dots, edit, indent 2 levels. Now, there is the increase indent, and you're like, why isn't she using that? It's because I have to click it more than one time. And for whatever reason, I don't like that. If you prefer that, use it. Okay. I prefer 3 dots, edit, and then choosing my indentation. So you can see how this pulled it away from the side. So my student's eye comes out and then I'm back in. So food for thought. All right. However you want to indent, I do recommend the numbering convention for your text headers. All right. Hands on time. All right, add those text headers in. If you're using the template and you've duplicated the template, just hit 3 dots edit and and put in those numbering conventions. Okay, I am going to introduce the next section and we are going to take a break because I'm almost up to an hour of talking. So I am going to introduce our next section and then we're going to take a little break, okay? So the next part we're going to talk about is actually editing, all right? Remember how I went through that module and I said, don't worry about editing, just hit that plus and just add, right? Now we're going to talk about how do we edit what we added to a module, all right? So right now, everything's just a shell to you. And so we're going to look at what's called the Rich Content Editor, or the RCE. All right, that's what I call it for short. That's what everybody calls it for short. So whenever you hear anyone refer to the RCE, it's your text editor. All right. Now, the nice thing about the Rich Content Editor is you know a lot of it already just because it's basic word processing skills. We are going to be talking about pages first, all right? And I'm going to come back and talk about pages after the break. Now, just an overview of the RCE. Notice it has a menu bar, all right? So I've got my edit, view, insert, format, my tools, my table, all right? And then I've got paragraph formatting with font, headers, bold, italic, underline, text color, highlight, all right? And then we have page formatting, like left, center, right. Page formatting, very, very simple. And that's it, all right? So if you're worried about editing in Canvas, don't be, because Microsoft Word looks like that. Google looks like this. So any Word application or word processing application you've been using, you're using the same tools that are inside Canvas. Now, we are going to start inside of your template, okay? So come on down and find that module that you duplicated. Now, if you didn't duplicate a module, that's perfectly fine, all right? If you made your own module and made a page in it, and you can use that. Now, I am going to warn you against editing the original module inside of your template, okay? The reason why is if you edit this, that's it. It's like making a mark on an original and going to the photocopier, okay? It's going to mark it up and that's it. Am I saying you can't get that again? No, I'm not, but just food for thought, all right? Now, I am going to give you a quick break. Where we're going to come back is we're going to come back into your template and edit a page. All right. So we're going into the RCE. Remember, that means the Rich Content Editor. All right. So just to back up, it has the menu bar I just mentioned and the formatting tools. Now, what we're going to be editing is a Canvas page. All right. Now, a page, I mentioned this very briefly before when we were creating the module. A page is exactly what it sounds like. All right. It's a web page. It's not static, okay, but it's for consuming information. All right. So you can put PowerPoints on it. You can embed PowerPoints, that sorts of things on there, movies, any type of media you would want to put on a page. All right. Students cannot hand in a page. All right. So that's the purpose of a page, really, is for consumption of information. Now, so here I am, and I've got my template. And so Texas A&M in your template has given you 3 pages at the top. Now, just looking at this, how do I know it's a page, by the way? It's the symbol for page in Canvas is this little piece of paper with the corner folded over. All right. Also, when you hover over it, it says page. All right. So I have week 1 overview and to do, presentation, lecture, and then content page. All right. So if I were to come up to week 1, overview and to do, and I would just open it up by hitting edit. Now, this opens up very, very small. So you have a couple of options. You can take your dots at the bottom right and pull down, or you can edit in full screen. All right. So either way, if you do full screen, that's what it looks like. All right. I don't prefer full screen. And if you just tried that and you want to get out of that view, you just hit escape. All right. I have a tendency just to use my dots at the bottom and pull down on the bottom right. All right. So here is our page for our overview and to do. All right. So I'm going to come up and I'm going to get rid of that word copy. And this is where I can edit it. Okay. I can come in and edit my week. So I can, at the top, now notice this is a heading. All right. So Dr. Widmer at the beginning said this is accessibility friendly. She is so correct. This is set up with a heading. This makes it very friendly for screen readers. All right. So if you notice that you have a heading or hierarchy, just leave it. All right. So I can come in and I can say week 1 and then put my dates in. Whoops. Whatever is appropriate. Okay. Now, down below, you have overview. All right. Now, if you wanted to change this overview to some other word, of course you can edit. All right. So all of this is editable. So this is where you would use your space to kind of give an overview of the week and your to-do list. Now, your to-do list, notice how short this is. It has these 5 items, and each item is 1 line a piece. It's already set up for you in the best practice, right? So I might come in and just give it a little edit, okay? So I can just delete it and put my own content. Whatever I need to say. And then I will have my to-do list here that I need to give the students. All right. So very simple. That's your week 1 and overdue to-do list. All right. It's available for you. I just wanted to mention this to you. It's already done. All you have to do is come in and edit if this is a page that's important to you. Again, a page just consuming that information. All right. I'm going to come in and go back down. All right. Presentation lecture. Now, this page actually is set up for you to have a little bit more engagement. All right. And so again, it's got the presentation lecture title. You would come in and edit. All right. So I'm going to come in, edit. Introducing psychology. Now, whatever, again, I'm just going to make this bigger. Whatever I need to say, I'm going to say it here. So I am going to delete that and then put in some text. All right. Now, I put in here the following video clip. All right. So I can actually come in and add a video clip to it. All right. Or I could embed a page. All right. So if I had a document that I wanted to upload, I could put that video in. And to do that, I'm going to show you both. All right. To embed a page, I can come up to my paper. We know that means page. All right. I can come, click it, say upload document, and upload that file. And let's say I wanted to put in this PowerPoint. Okay, so I could put a link to a PowerPoint in and say open. All right, there it is. So I can embed files like that, or I can come in and embed a quick video. Now, inside of your instance, there is a, there is a plug. All right. So you can come in and click on that plug. You have a media site. Now, I don't have access to media site, but you do. What media site is, if you're not familiar, it's a place where you can put your lecture videos, or you can put videos in general. And it's like a library, and you can use them inside of Canvas, right? And it doesn't use up your file quota. So this is a great option. Also, you have YouTube, all right? Now, YouTube is very easy in Canvas to drop in. You just click that. Again, one more time. I'm going to come in. I'm in the plug on my rich content editor. I hit view all. YouTube is at the very bottom. I can look for, let's see, the McGurk effect. And let's say I wanted the second one. So you can also preview these. All right. So if you wanted to know what they were, you can click on it and preview it directly inside of Canvas. All right. So say I want it, I'm going to hit embed, and I would embed small or medium. Okay. So I'm just going to say small. And there's that video. Now, Canvas does, when you embed it in that manner, it strips out the ads. All right. So you're not going to get the, Airbnb ad or whatever that's at the beginning of it. It will go straight to the content of that video. All right. So really helpful way to get some files in. Again, how did I get that in? I came straight up here. I came to upload document and I just dropped in that link. Or you can come and drop a video in. All right. So I'm going to let you come in and edit, all right, a page. And I'm going to save this page. So whoops. You edit a page that's already there. Just create that text information in there and have that file in there or drop that movie. Okay. I'll talk about auto open in just a moment. All right. I embedded this PowerPoint, which is a link right now. Okay. So when I embed any type of file, like a PowerPoint or Microsoft document, PDF, whenever it is a link, as so, when I click on that link, I can always come up to link options. All right. And I can choose preview inline. All right. And then expand preview by default. Now, what the difference is, preview inline, when students hover over the link, it will open. If you say expand by default, it just opens. Okay. So one more time, this link, click on it. There's link options. Then I can say preview inline and expand by default. And I can hit done. Now, it doesn't look like anything changed. It did. I have to come down and hit save. Now I have it, and students can come through my presentation. Okay. So I will do that one more time from the very, very beginning, because I know this is probably important to you. So coming up to embed, I'm going to come to the page, upload file. I'm going to find the file. This happens to be a PowerPoint, okay? But this works the same way for Microsoft Word and PDFs. So I have that selected. I'm going to hit open. There it is, and submit. Once the link is in, I'm going to click the link, go to link options, and then say preview inline and expand by default and hit done. Now, again, it doesn't look like anything changed. You might have seen a little yellow flash. You have to save it to see the change. And there that is. Okay, so that's how you can embed content directly in by uploading a file. Just be aware, if you do choose to embed files like this, screen readers cannot read embedded files. All right, so just keep that in mind when we're talking about accessibility. the more you embed documents, the less accessible your page then becomes. All right. So I understand that you're going to have to use it. Just be mindful of that, especially with lecture notes. Copy and paste it natively into Canvas as much as possible. All right. Now, we're going to continue on and look at a few more options inside of your pages. All right. So I'm going to come back. So I have put that presentation in the lecture, and then I have another page down here. If I wanted to edit this one, I could. It's always a nice idea to have more than one page. So I'm glad your template gave it to you. And again, you can edit this however you feel is appropriate. Now, coming in again, I can embed using my plug through YouTube, MediaSite. All these are available for my use, okay? And I can also come up and embed documents. One last item that you do have, all right? You do have the ability to record video here, all right? If you needed to put a really quick spoken direction, you can record on the fly. This is not for lecture videos or anything like that. This is just for very quick spoken directions. You can put those in. Hello. And also you can add pictures with the mountain and sun. So that's the next item I'm going to show you with the linking. All right. So if you want a picture from your device, you would just come in, upload the image, and search for what image you might have on your computer. All right. And upload these. So for example, I've got a picture of a brain somewhere, maybe not. I'll just use that banner. Let's say you wanted that picture. You would always have to put alternate text in if you uploaded an image such as that. So very important to include that for accessibility. All right. So you would just hit submit and it would drop directly in. All right. You can also get pictures in using Unsplash as well, which is Creative Commons friendly. Anything that you might want to insert, you can search and use as well. Links. If you wanted to make a link, for example, you should always type in the name of the link itself. Highlight it, and then come up to your link. So it would be an external link. And you would just paste that in. So very easy to use with the link up there. Putting that in. Again, always the best practice not to have a raw link like that. Always have your link attached to text. Okay. All right. Now, I am going to talk a little bit about the accessibility checker down here below. So my accessibility checker, my little man or person, no accessibility issues were detected. So again, your template protects you from this because you have headings. I also have alternate text behind this image. If I were to remove that alternate text, well, it's not gonna let me. See if it let me do it. Nope, it didn't. If I were to create a table, and just the table by itself, it's my accessibility checker. He's going to flag some accessibility issues. All right. It would need a caption. So, for example, if I needed, let's say this a data table, I would have to label the table. And then, of course, I don't have any headers. So you would have to come in and say header row, header column, header row and column, whatever the case may be for that particular table. It also, there we go, it's happy. It also doesn't like wild colors. So if I were to, come in and give it some color where it's very hard to read. Nope, it didn't flag it. But also be very, very mindful of those colors. Okay. All right. So I'm going to give you a chance to come in and run that accessibility checker, view any suggested revisions on a page, and make those changes if necessary. Give you about a minute to go and check that. Before we leave pages, a couple of things I'm going to mention. We took a quick trip through the features of the things you can do with video, with YouTube, and with documents. Again, your template's setting you up for success. However, if you design a page that you want to share with a colleague, you can do that. Okay. So you can share a page if you were wanting to share with a department. 3 dots, and you can send this to a colleague if they were wanting to borrow it or use it. It's not a borrow because they're not going to return. You could send this for their use and type their names in. Okay. So whoever you would want to send this to. So, for example, I'm just typed in a very generic name because I knew it would grab something. I could send it to these 2 ladies and send it, and they would be able to use my page if they wanted to. All right. It's up here where it's going to show up is under the account. And there will be something called shared content. It will be available under shared content. And I'm not going to make you watch the wheel go round and round and round, waiting for that to load. But it would be under shared content, and you would get a notification, one, where you could use that shared content underneath your account if that was something you were interested in doing, sharing materials like that with each other. Okay. Last thing about pages, be very careful. Long pages are never good. So as soon as you scroll, you lose students because they don't want to read it, right? They just see text. And it's very difficult for them to read. Try to use, some engagement with maybe PowerPoint, that YouTube video, things like that. And I'm sure your institution has a list of approved applications for engagement that they can suggest to you. All right. All right. We are going to go into assignments. All right. Now, with assignments, we're going to dig right into just creating. All right. Now, your template has some assignment templates. Okay. So I'm going to come down and I am actually going to edit the template that was given to you because it's set up so well. All right. So let me explain why I am such a fan, even more of this than I am of the pages that you were given. Number one, it starts with a header, always a best practice. Okay. It enlarges the font. All right. So you're not having to. That keeps it accessible. You have your overview, you have your guidelines that you want them to keep in mind, and then technical support. Canvas Student Guide for Assignments, the number one call Canvas gets is about student assignments. It's either from the student or the instructor, students not knowing how to submit. So when you leave this student guide here, you are supporting your students, all right? So I have my assignment overview, and I can come in and customize this. So let's say that I'm going to give some basic directions. Write full and complete responses to the following questions and upload your response as a Word document. Now, in guidelines, I could change this to questions, right? Because I said that these are going to be questions, so I can edit that. And then I could put my questions in. All right, whoops. And then I have my technical support. So again, using this template, header, 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 I have that student support in here. I did edit this. I customized it to my purposes, and I'm ready to go. All right. So again, I'm using this rich content editor. If I wanted to, again, if I wanted to have some engagement in here, for example, I wanted to use this media site, I could do that. I could put a YouTube video into my assignment as well. I could come over and put a document in. So don't forget, just because we're inside of an assignment, you still have all these engagement pieces that we just talked about. All right. So remember, this is where all your apps are, where you can upload this document, PowerPoints, whatever you need. You have your links, and you have where you can upload an image if you were to need it off your computer. All right. So use your rich content editor however you need. Just because we've moved off the page, don't forget about it. Now, coming down, I'm just going to put in my points. Now, however you grade, all right, I just put in 100, just very generically. And then your template has these assignment groups already in it: assignments, exercises, quizzes, discussions. Okay. So this is already pre-designed in your templates. So I'm just going to keep it assignments. Now, other options: percent, complete, incomplete, points, letter grade, GPA grade, scale, or not graded. Again, whatever is appropriate. I'm going to keep minus points, and you have this formative option: do not count towards final grade, in case you wanted them to see feedback, that they were doing some sort of drafting. That would be the option you would choose. Now, let's talk about our submission types. All right. No submission. By the way, anytime you make an assignment in Canvas, it makes a column in the gradebook. All right. So you don't have to worry about that. It's going to make a column in the gradebook. No submission. Why would you use no submission? The reason you would use it is if it's a class presentation, okay? If they were doing perhaps participation in a field study, like if you were going out and logging hours in the field somehow, that would be no submission, okay? Those are the three use cases off the top of my head that are probably the most prevalent, all right? Class presentation, field activity, or a lecture series, them participating in something. That way, they're not handing something in, but you can give them a grade. We're going to come back to online in a second. On paper, obviously, this would be if they were physically to hand it in. All right. And you were to take it home in your briefcase or your tote bag and grade it. External tool, this would be like a cloud-based assignment. Now, I'm going to focus on online. All right. What does that mean? What that means is you are wanting students to submit directly through Canvas. All right. They are not submitting through a third party. They're not submitting some other way. It's through Canvas. All right. Now, we do have options. We have text entry. Well, text entry, and I'm going to show you the student side in just a second, but text entry is like the rich content editor. That's what students get. Website URL, they're literally copying and pasting a URL. Media recording, students would make a video and hand in. All right. Student annotation, I'm going to come back to in just a second. File upload. This is if you wanted students to upload a PDF, Word doc, PowerPoint, some image, video, some sort of file off of their device. Okay, that would be file upload. Now, you can restrict file upload types. If you only wanted, for example, wanted image files, you could put those file extensions in, so you could say PNG, JPEG, GIF, whatever. All right, if those were the type of file types you desire to have. It's an option. Do you have to restrict it? No. All right. Student annotation. This is brand new. Well, I shouldn't say brand new. I guess it's 2 months old. What student annotation is, if you wanted students to mark up a document, all right, so it could be a form that you wanted them to annotate on, or if you wanted them to show editing of some paper, okay? Let's say that you're English 101 and you're trying to get them to understand APA formatting. You could upload an incorrectly formatted APA document and have them mark it up for format, all right, as a use case. So you would just have to upload that file, all right, and choose that file from your computer and upload that, all right. So I'm just going to stick this in really quickly because it's just right in front of me. All right. So you can see there's that, and they would annotate directly on top of that document. Coming down, allowed attempts. Either they have unlimited attempts and they can submit until the cows come home. The file, you can see each submission inside of SpeedGrader. So they just kind of all collect inside of SpeedGrader, and you have a little drop down and you can see each submission. Limited attempts, you get to say how many times they get to submit the assignment. Honestly, to save yourself heartache, I would allow 2, because it's technology. It's going to fail. It doesn't matter what technology it is, it's going to fail. So this will save you some heartache. Instead of getting email saying whatever happened, they have another attempt. Plagiarism review. You do have Turnitin, which is a plagiarism checker. All right. And your institution can give you more information about that. Time does not allow for me to go and demo Turnitin, but you do have that plagiarism review tool. Coming on down, assigned to everyone. All right. That's the fall. You set the due date. That is a soft due date. All right. They can submit after the due date. If you want to check the until date, this is the hard due date. So for example, it's due the 24th, but you'll accept it until the 27th. That's it. They cannot access it, on August 27th at 11:59 p.m. It cuts it off where they can no longer submit it. If you needed to add another due date to another section, you could choose that section and then differentiate that due date. Okay. So here's that other section. I'm going to come in and I could say, oh, okay, this section is due the 30th and they have until September 3rd. All right. So that's an option as well. I'm going to hit save and publish. And there it is. All right. I'm going to give you some hands-on time to play with that. All right. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to go into student view. Now, if you finish making the assignment before the timer goes off, I invite you to go into student view. All right. See what it looks like from this. You do have to publish it, okay, to go into student view. If it's not published, you cannot use student view. I am going to duck back and talk just a little bit about that duplication differentiation I just did, where you're adding and you can assign to the different sections. Duplication, by the way, you can, like I said, you can duplicate anything in Canvas except a quiz. All right. So here is my assignment that I just had. If I needed to duplicate this, I can. Okay. So I can come up to the 3 dots and I can duplicate it. All right. And I have another copy of that exact assignment. When I come in to that assignment, it's got all the edits. All right. So I can duplicate assignments for whatever reason I need to. All right. And I can come up and edit. All right. And I could assign it. Let's say that I have a student who is gravely ill. All right. I can assign it to just that student. All right. And adjust the due date if you were to need to have to do it. It's an option. All right. You can also add. All right. So I wanted to come back and talk about this again because it's a great feature. All right. You can assign it to one student. You can assign it to a single section. All right. So all this is possible. All right. You can assign it to everyone, have their due date, and then assign it to that single student, and they have a different due date. All right. So, and they will only see that due date that you assign to them. Notice there's Thomas. He has the due date of the 30th. Everyone else has the due date of the 24th. Thomas is not going to see that 24th due date. Okay. He will see the 30th. So this is very, very powerful inside of Canvas. So it's so much so I wanted to step back and mention it again, that differentiation that you can do either to a student or to individual sections of your course. All right. Giving them those individual due dates, whatever is appropriate and applicable in your situation. And then I can say, all right. We're almost time for a break. We are heading down into the home stretch, last hour. So we're going to head into the topic of quizzes. All right. Now, quizzes are, again, a great tool inside of Canvas. All right. Why are they awesome to use? Because it gives immediate feedback, especially if it's auto grading. Okay. So there are the auto grading question types. That saves you time. You can have very specific feedback, all right, inside, and it's pre-written. You don't have to go back and write it again. All students get that same pre-written feedback. You can share with colleagues, like you can share a page. Remember, I did the send to, and you also have question banks, all right, that you can use as you go through quizzing. Now, there are 4 different types of quizzes. There's the graded quiz. That's what we think of, right? That's our summative quiz. It creates that column in the gradebook. It can be graded in SpeedGrader if it's not automatically graded. Again, most questions are automatic graded, not all. So, for example, if it was an essay question or a file upload question, obviously you would have to grade that. Practice quiz. For example, if you wanted to do a practice run of the midterm or final, it's a good review before those large assessments. They get to see their quiz results, but they don't get that grade. So really nice formative way to see where they are. Graded survey. All right. Sometimes we want to give points to students for completing surveys. It's not right or wrong. Okay. So you cannot mark the survey as being the survey questions being right or wrong answers because it's a survey, right? But you can give points for completing the survey. And then we have ungraded survey, all right? The way I use ungraded survey or have used ungraded survey in the past is I have used it as a contact form for my students. I've done a bunch of fill in the blanks, and I have that content, that information, because sometimes the information you receive from the registrar or the bursar, wherever you see that information, is incorrect because they moved or the phone number changed. So that's the way I use mine. And again, here's some use cases for that. All right. And I put contact form in there for that. So lots of different ways you can use each type. All right. Before I get into the last hour of quizzes and gradebook, I'm going to give us our last break and we're going to head to the home stretch. All right, home stretch. Here we go. So what we're going to do is we are coming back into our module. All right. Now, you add a quiz just like you add anything else inside of the module. All right. So I'm going to hit that plus at the top and I'm going to say add quiz. And then I'm going to create quiz and I'm just going to give it a name. All right. So I'm just going to say week 1. Intro quiz. And there it is. Now I'm going to go ahead and publish because I'll forget. And I'm going to come in, click on it, and it's ready to edit. All right. So I can see up here that I can edit this. So I'm just going to click on edit. And I would fill in my directions here just like I would everywhere else. So again, I do have my accessibility checker down here, like I do all over Canvas. I do want to make sure I have headers. All right. If you haven't noticed, whenever I use a header, it adjusts the font. So as tempting as it is to enlarge font, try not to, because you do have this lovely hierarchy of headings. So just keep that in mind and notice that you have them. So it does make everything a lot more accessible. So I would just put in my directions, whatever those directions are. Again, if I needed to put anything additionally into my directions, I do have all these tools, all right? So remember, I have the document where I can upload, I have links, I have my plug, all right, where I have all my LTIs there. So don't forget about that. Even though this is a quiz, you do have that ability, all right? Now, coming down, I'm just going to keep this graded quiz, all right, because it's the one that's used the very most. Now, for my assignment group, I am going to come down and put it into quizzes, all right? Now, I have some options here, such as shuffling answers. That means students get a different order of the answers as they go. I do have a time limit. I can time the test if this is important. For example, I could say it's a half-hour quiz. I can also allow multiple attempts, okay? If that's something that you are doing, you can do that. You can do that on a quiz as well, all right? If you do choose multiple attempts, allowed attempts, you can put in how many, and then the quiz score that you want to keep, highest, latest, or average. So that's all an option. Let students see their quiz responses, all right? Now, if you're allowing multiple attempts, obviously this would come into play only once after each attempt, probably not. Let students see the correct answers only after their last attempt. All right. I'm not allowing multiple attempts, so neither one of those comes into play. Now, let students see the correct answers. You can release them on a date. All right. Now, why would you want to do this? You would want to do this if you had a Monday, Tuesday class, let's say. All right. So one class, takes the quiz on Monday, and then the other section of the class takes it on Tuesday. Well, you may not want comparing going on, right? Monday talking to Tuesday's class and sharing information. So you can release correct answers. So you can say, show correct answers on, let's say, Wednesday. All right. So this is an option if you wanted to release it on a certain day and you wanted to come back and have a discussion about those answers on that day. You can also hide correct answers. All right. So you can show them on Wednesday at 12 p.m. and then you can hide the answers same day at 8 p.m. So you can get very, very specific with that. All right. If that's something that you wanted to do. And I'm not going to do that because I'll lock myself out of seeing the answers. Show one question at a time, right? If you choose that, I don't recommend locking the questions after answering. I know sometimes instructors think this is anti-cheating, but just keep in mind that if you want them to go backwards and look at an image or read a quote or a paragraph, whatever it may be, if you lock the question, they can't get back to it. So just keep that in mind when you're considering. Require an access code. This is a passcode. If you wanted to go ahead and publish the quiz in the module, but you didn't want students to take the quiz yet, you can passcode it. And then when class starts, you can say whatever the access code is to get into the quiz and begin work on it. Filter IP addresses, you will probably never use. What that is if you're going to give the test in a computer lab, you would have those IP addresses available to you that you would click and choose for that computer lab. All right, assign to. All right, same thing as an assignment. Basically, a quiz is an assignment, okay? Almost except with these choices, that's what this is. It's formatting. I can set my due date. Again, this is soft, all right? So if you wanted to say, all right, well, let's do the 24th, but you have until the 27th to complete it, this is an option. Remember how I showed you before how you can do that differentiation for adding. If you needed to add a student and differentiate that for some reason, or a section, give them a different due date, all right, you would just hit that add, and then you can give a different due date in a quiz as well. All right, I'm going to go ahead and hit save. All right, and now I'm ready to build my questions in there. I'm going to give you a chance to come in and just do those settings. So remember how we created that quiz. We hit a plus at the top of the module, okay, to create that. So go ahead, create that quiz by hitting the plus sign, add the quiz instructions, and then adjust the settings and save. I'm going to give you a little bit of time to do that. All right. We are ready to build. All right. So here I am. I'm going to come back, same quiz. I'm going to come in and edit. And I've got all of this filled out. I'm going to come over to questions. Next tab over. All right. Now, I'm going to build, I don't have a time to build every type of question. All right. So I'm going to demo some of the more popular question types. So to create a question, you would hit new question. First one you see on your left. All right. Now, the first one I'm going to demo is multiple choice because almost everyone makes multiple choice questions. Now, very, very important. I can't tell you how important this is. Right here where it says question, don't leave it as question. What is the question about? What is the topic? All right. So in other words, you're giving this question a label. All right. So I could say this is Intro to Psych week 1. All right. That way I will know what it is later because, and I'll show you how this works. Every time you make a quiz question, it banks it. If I were to leave this as question, every single question would say question. I would have no idea what this is about. So this is the label that tells me what is this question about. All right. And I'm gonna be honest. I would label it with like semester 1 and then the topic maybe. Okay. So I'm just going to say Intro to Psych week 1. All right. Multiple choice. This way I know what it's about. So multiple choice. I'm going to come in and put in my question. Just write whatever question it is directly in. Again, I'm going to point out the fact that you have the rich content editor. All right. So you could put a YouTube video in. All right. You could be very creative with your quizzing. It doesn't have to be as pedantic as this question I just wrote. You could come in and use your media site, or you could come in and use YouTube or embed a document. All right. I'm just because of time, I'm typing it. All right. Now, so there is my question. I'm going to come down and put my choices. All right. So I'm going to come in behavioral neuroscience, social, cognitive, and developmental. Now, I have my choices in. Notice, all right, that the top answer is notated as correct. Well, this is not correct. All right. I have to change this. So the way I change it, all right, is I take my cursor and I just hover. And I don't know if you can see that. It's like a little ghost of a green arrow. All right. So when I can just click and it changes it. All right. So now social is keyed as the correct answer. Now, you may be wondering what this is down here, these red and green boxes. This is where you leave your just-in-time feedback. So you can leave just-in-time feedback under each answer to give really great feedback, or you have just in general feedback down here. All right. So up to you how specific your feedback is going to be. So again, you would just put this in and hit done. And that's the feedback they would get. I think it's valuable. But then again, it depends on the question and it depends on the time you have, right? So I'm just coming in, putting in my feedback. And I'm just going to hit done. All right. So I'm going to hit done on each feedback. So it saves. All right. So there is my correctly keyed question and the feedback underneath it, just in time feedback. When I am done with the question, I would just hit update question. Whatever you do, don't come and hit save. All right. You hit update question. Save is for when you are done with the entire quiz. If you hit save while you're editing a question, you will lose the question. Okay. So be careful and say update instead of coming over to say when you're building. So that was a multiple choice example. All right. I'm going to come in and keep building. So I'm going to come and say new question and keep coming. All right. So I'll do a fill in the blank because that is also a very popular one. So I'm going to come down, change it to fill in the blank. And again, I am going to change this to what is this about? I'm not going to leave it as question. Now, when I put in I fill in the blank, notice that my blank is in square brackets. All right. Now, when I put it in square brackets, I would put the possible answer here. Now, fill in the blank is a little bit tricky, all right? Because how are they going to answer this, right? Personality. They could also have it with a capital P, personality. They could also misspell it. So sometimes fill in the blank takes instructor intervention. I'm going to be real honest, just because of the margin of error that you possibly could have in a fill in the blank. So just keep that in mind. You might have to manually grade it if it's, they misspell it and it's counted wrong. Just food for thought with that. An example for this is my brother teaches at a Canvas institution in Texas, actually. And he teaches music, right? He's the jazz band. He does jazz band and music appreciation. And so if the question is, what's the part of the orchestra that strikes or hits their instruments? And he has to fill in the blank, and then it's percussion, right? Well, how are they going to answer it? Are they going to say percussion family, the percussion family, percussion? So they could misspell percussion. There's that variable there. So just be aware of it. Do the best you can with putting in the possible answers. Again, we've got just-in-time feedback down here at the bottom that you can put in. So I'm just going to put it in for the correct answer, just as in general. And I'm going to say done. And I'm going to update question. All right, I'm also going to do a formula type. So I'm going to hit new question. Again, what is this about? While I'm here, all these are auto grading until we get to essay. Okay, essay file upload. Just be aware, it auto grades all the way up to essay. So formula question. All right. So here I am with my simple little formula question. And my variables obviously are in my square bracket. All right. Make sure that if you do a percentage that's outside of the bracket, when I was first doing formula questions, I messed up and put it inside the bracket. So just telling you from my experience, I did that and it doesn't work if you do that. All right, coming down, I have my variables, right? So I can set whatever I'm going to accept here. So I could say something like 30 minimum to 70, whatever's appropriate. And then I'm going to put my calculation formula. So X times, whoops. And save that. And there is my formula. And then I'm going to say offer 10 possible value combinations and allow a error of margin. That's up to you. Okay, I'll say 1%. And then hit generate. And there we go. All right. So there is your formula question. I'm just going to hit update. And then, unfortunately, because of time, that's all I have time to demo. I am going to say I am done with this test and hit save. All right. I'm going to give you time. Now, you don't have to create 3 different types of questions. At least go in and make a multiple choice or true false or fill in the blank. Maybe formula. All right. I'm going to give you some time to at least make one question. Don't forget to give it a name where it says question. All right. We are to the bottom of the slalom. Gradebook. The all-important Gradebook. All right, Gradebook and Canvas is pretty awesome. All right. You can see when students have submitted assignments before you grade them. It's wonderful to message students who haven't submitted their assignments. You can do a little bit of data dive by doing scored less than and scored more than on a particular quiz score. And you can also set late policies and let Canvas automatically apply grades for missing submissions and also take deductions off for late submissions. So lots of power inside of that Gradebook. All right. So I am going to come into grades. And here we are. And I'm going to go from left to right, okay, and kind of give you an overview of this. So when you get into the gradebook, you notice that you have these little triangles, okay? So anytime you see a triangle, it's a little drop down, all right? So in gradebook, you have individual view and gradebook history. Individual view, this is to see a student's grades by themselves. For example, if I went into individual view right now, I can even filter by section, all right? If the student was in a particular section, coming down, I can choose my student and I can see his grades. Now, this is a fake student, all right? And also, my grade book, because I trained this yesterday, is auto applying zeros to unsubmitted work. So this is the reason that you see such a abysmal grade for my student. All right, but it's great for conferences. All right, virtual or in person when you go to individual view. All right. To get out of it, I just go back to Gradebook. And I'm back in. What Gradebook history is, if you were to change, you can see the actual assignments. If you were to change a grade, you would see what they had before and what they have currently. All right. So that's what the Gradebook history will show you. Coming down, arranging. All right. So you can arrange by default order. What is default order, by the way? Default order is the order of your assignments in your assignment index page. If you don't know what that is, right here, this is your assignments index page. When you click in, however your assignments are listed in here, this is default order in your Gradebook. Okay. Then I can filter alphabetically. All right. I can also filter by due date. This is nice at the end of the semester. I can flip my gradebook around and do newest to oldest, points, lowest to highest, and module first to last. Actions, I can export this as a CSV file, okay, if I wanted a spreadsheet. Moving on over, I have my gear, all right? This gear is unassuming, all right? So, I have mixed feelings about the gear. I feel like it needs to be bigger, but I'm not a developer and I doubt they would listen to me. Lindley will be, you're not going to listen. But this is a very powerful gear and it's kind of over here in the corner. What this is your late policies. Okay. So this is where you automatically apply grades for missing submissions. This is why my student has zeros, because I said so. All right. In my late policies. Now, if I wanted to say, missing submissions get a 50, then it would apply that for a 50. Okay. So you're the one that gets to control that. If you are doing deduction for late submissions, this is where you would do it. You would check it and say, all right, 1% per day, that is late. You can also do it by hour, which is pretty steep. But that you have that option, and then lowest possible grade percent, whatever is appropriate for your institution. All right. Grade posting policy. Automatically post grades by default. Actually, Canvas automatically posts grades. All right. So what does this mean? This means that let's take that quiz I just made. All right. When students come through and take that quiz and complete it, all those are auto grading quiz question types, boom, they see their quiz grade. Now, it just depends, right? If you want it to or not. This is the umbrella. Overall, how do you want this? Do you want it to automatically post or do you want to manually post? You can control this assignment by assignment. All right. And I'm going to show you that. This is just in general. How do you want it to post? All right. Only you can make that decision. Advanced, you can do final grade override. Students do not know override a grade. All right. It doesn't give them a notification, but you'd have that ability. Whatever you decide, hit update, and it says gradebook settings updated. Now, coming on over, since we're going all the way over to the right, down here, I have my total all the way at the end of the gradebook. All right. If you do not like the total being, I'm having to do the scroll dance. If you don't like that, you can move this total. All right. You can hit the 3 dots on total and you can move it to the front. And now it's over here next to student name. All right. You can move it back. You can move it to the end. If you say, oh, I don't really like that, you can move it back to the end. Okay. I kind of like it right here next to the student name. That way it gives me that information immediately and I'm not having to fish around for it. All right. Now, I think I skipped this and I apologize. So I'm going to come back to view. For filters under view, you can filter by assignment group and module. All right. So if I choose assignment group, I can filter by, if I only wanted to say discussions, I can see all of the discussions. I can see all of the quizzes if I just wanted to see quizzes. So I can filter it by assignment type. In addition, I can filter it by module. Okay. So I can say, oh, all right. So I just want to see all the quizzes in my first module. And it takes everything out. It's like cleaning up after dinner, right? It cleans all the crumbs up, all right? I can come and say, all right, well, I want my second module and I want to see my assignments. So you can double filter, and where this is under filter, and I am double filtering, all right? I'm filtering by module and assignment groups, okay? So I could take assignment groups off and just filter by module, right? And just see everything in module 1. It's still really nice filter. So let's say that I was having to grade, right? I was doing lesson 1 in week 1. I can just filter it, and at a glance, I can see just by coming to view, filter, and then checking modules, and that little window shows up. All right. So really nice options under filters. It's one of my favorite features. Statuses. Statuses are the colors that show up for different reasons. For example, a late submission, missing, resubmitted, dropped if a student were to drop your class, or you were to excuse the work in the class. All right. So status colors really help. So you can see right here, all right, that I have that status color. Now, so you can see how that matches. That yellow is missing, right? Because nothing's there. So the status color really does help when you come through. and are looking at those. You have the ability for notes. If you wanted to make a note about a student, you can also make a note. Students don't see it. And if you wanted to hide it, you could make it go away. All right. All right. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of hands-on time to come and find those filters in your gradebook, maybe apply the filters, view by module or assignments. So at least go in and see where it is. All right. So gradebook, remember under view, how we can do that filter, arrange by your statuses. At the very least, you can move your total column. All right. All right. We're going to come in and talk some more about our gradebook filtering. And I'm actually going to come out into a gradebook that I have a lot of data in. So I am coming out of your instance just so you can see what a gradebook looks like with data. All right. Now you can see the status colors blow up your gradebook after a while. All right. So this is what a gradebook would look like with a lot in it. So here's my status colors, and I've come through and manually graded some of this. This orange, pinky color, it means late. All right. So that's what that is. This is missing, and I'm sure you're like, well, if it's missing, why is there a grade there? I actually manually put in a grade. All right. But that status color still remains that it is missing. All right. So we have done all of our filters across, right? We come through, we put our filters for our assignment groups and our modules. We talked about the gear, all right, how we can do that. Now it's time to talk about some other filtering options. So when you get your class roster, you can filter on student name. You can sort by their name, any type of ID here that you may have. Also, their alphabetical order, display as first, last, last, first. And again, you can display any type of campus ID that might be available as their secondary information. You can also see inactive and concluded enrollments in your course. These would be read-only grades. You can no longer edit these if it's inactive or concluded, but you can see those enrollments that may have been removed from your course. Now, moving over, on top of each assignment, you do have 3 dots as well. So for example, when I come to this sample assignment, I can hit the 3 dots and I can sort by, okay? So sort by grade, low to high, high to low. Now I can start using my status colors, right? Sort by missing, all right? I don't have any missing there. Let me do this one, sort by missing. See how all my yellows shot to the top? So this is how that status color really helps you out. Sort by late. There's all that coral color. And so it's just filtering it right out. It's just a great way, especially if you have large classes. This is a great way to be able to sort that and see it at a glance with that status color. You can come and message students who have not submitted yet. Again, in large classes, here's your data. Boom. Okay. Who hasn't submitted? And it doesn't take but a second. Say, please submit by Wednesday. Whatever you need to say. This is a blind copy. All right. They don't know the other one got it. scored less than. All right, I don't even know how much. This is out of 26. So if you wanted a little bit of data here, who scored less than 20, those students scored less than 20, you might want to send a little message that say, set up some office hours if you're scoring this low on this assignment and scored more than 20. And you can see those students as well. So again, all of this is under the 3 dots at the top of the assignment. Curve grades. If you curve grades, you cannot undo a curve. All right. That's why this great big pink message is here. You can see it in gradebook history, but you can't undo it. Okay. Remember, gradebook history is right here. You can see that curve, but you can't undo the curve. I mean, I guess, yeah, you could click in it and then manually undo it, but there's no button to say uncurve. Set default grade. This is if you're giving everybody the same grade for whatever reason, this is set default grade. You could come in and say, oh, everybody gets 26. And you can say overwrite already entered grades. Lots of reasons to use this. Peer reviewing, okay, making sure they actually complete it. This default grade is a good example of that. Okay, now we talked about over here, we talked about grade posting policy, automatic or manual. And I said, well, you can adjust it on the assignment itself. Under the 3 dots is where you adjust it. So if I wanted to, for example, I'm not done grading this assignment, I can hide grades, okay? So when I say hide grades, this little door is going to pop out, and I can hide grades for specific sections. So I can turn this on and say, okay, I'm going to hide it for this section, and I'm going to say hide. And it takes a minute to hide. Now, what this means is the student sees in their grade book that you have not posted the grade yet. Nobody can see it. All right. So you can notice my little eyeball right there. It means students can't see. And so I can come through and I can grade. All right. Let's say I have this last one. I need to grade. I can grade it. And then when I'm done, I'm going to hit that 3 dot, and then I'm going to hit post grades. Okay. So I'm going to hit post grades. It's going to say, well, who do you want to post to? Everybody or only the ones that you've graded? You can also, again, do it for specific sections. I'm going to choose that, everyone within this section, and then post. And it does take a second to post. And you will get that little banner that says success, grades have been posted for that particular assignment. All right. So really cool feature in here of hiding those grades, hiding grades, grading them, and then coming back and posting them as you need to. All right. Enter grades as points or percentage, your choice. You can always download submissions if for whatever reason you needed a hard copy of a submission. You can always download it. Okay. So you can download all of them at a time and it will zip them up. Grade posting policy, again, automatic or manually. All right. And that is for this specific assignment. All right. Not all grades, but this specific assignment. All right. And so that is everything inside of the gradebook. All right. So some really nice features in there. All right. Let's talk a little bit. That is all of our content today. I am going to come back and talk a little bit about support that you have from your institution. All right. You have lots of support, by the way. So I'm going to pull over your agenda. And hopefully you have these resources. All right. So let's see if it'll let me open this today. Nope. And it's only this link that has given me trouble. There we go. And I'm going to drop this into chat. This is at your institution. So if you want to bookmark these, you have training and support and lots of it. Okay. The resources offered, the office hours, etc. You sign up here, office hours, you've got a service desk, you have video resources into playlist. All right. So you can come in and sign up for some one-on-one help. You also have video resources right here. These are playlists available on that same page. You also have the office hours right here, their schedule, and then a calendar, what's going on as well. All right. You also have face-to-face. You can schedule that as well if you need it. All right. So lots and lots and lots of support, even getting to know your Canvas template. Before I trained you today, I actually came into this as a resource for myself so I could help you out more efficiently to learn about your template. Okay. So this is a great resource if you're wanting to take care of all those benefits that Texas A&M has given you inside that template. Great resource. In addition, you have this little infographic telling you, reminding you of everything you have. And then last thing I am going to mention is you always have help. All right. If you don't like any of that your university has given you, you always have additional help here underneath the question mark. And you can come and search the Canvas guides. You have the instructor guides and you have student guides. All right. You have some videos in here for some support as well. And of course, you've got training services portal that you can come and watch the video and actually take asynchronous classes and learn more about Canvas as well. All right. All right. I see that you're getting some reminders inside of chat. Definitely take advantage of everything that you have, all those great resources. If you are badging, if you like digital badging, here's that form. Okay, what a digital badge from Canvas is, and the claim code when I ask for it is half. I put that into chat. You will get a badge of participation today. if you like collecting those types of things, some people put them on their signatures, etc. And then here is a survey for me. Everybody was a trooper. That was a lot of content. Okay. That was basically not all of Canvas in 3 hours, but a lot of Canvas in 3 hours. And everybody did fantastic. So hopefully I elevated your knowledge of Canvas. I gave you a little bit of time to play. I know, and not a lot of time to play. But again, it was my pleasure being with you today.